My next guest tonight here on Punky's Mixtape is joining me out of Portland, Maine. I'd like everybody to welcome to the show Will Bradford of the bands SeepeopleS and The Worst. How we doing, Will?
Great. Very well. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
That's good to hear. And so for my hold on, let me start over. I'm getting all the clumped here.
Good.
Did I say it wrong? Did I say the band name
you're
wrong?
Breaking up. No, The Worst?
No, did I say did I got it right with SeepeopleS?
Yes, SeepeopleS. Just like just go and see peoples, you know. See dead peoples without the dead.
Perfect. All right. Got our cue in. Whew. The heat's just got me today. I got to get back into it.
Oh, it's all good.
All right. My next guest tonight here on Punky's Mixtape is joining me from Portland, Maine. I'd like everybody to welcome to the show Will Bradford of the band SeepeopleS and of The Worst. How we doing, Will?
Good, man.
That's good to hear.
Doing very well.
You're fighting the good fight over there, it looks like.
Trying to always fight the good fight. For sure. And for checking out your show, too. So,
well, thanks for coming to hang out. We definitely appreciate it. So for my mixtapers that might have missed you guys previously on the show, tell us a little bit about the bands that you're in and what you do.
So I've been SeepeopleS is like my baby. That's been my sort of band for 20 years now, since 2000. And then I play bass in The Worst, which is I've been playing in, I guess, for about 4 years now. So yeah, and then I produce other music on the side. So really busy.
definitely sounds like it. So you've been doing SeepeopleS now for 20 years now. Tell me a little bit about that ride from like the early 2000s to now.
That's a loaded question, buddy.
Oh, absolutely. They always are on this show.
Well, every minute was blissful because I did everything right, so we're good. You know what I mean?
and that's the end. That was the perfect rock and roll story. Every decision was good.
It was. I made no mistakes. Everyone would agree, of course.
I never lost any money.
I never lost any money. Yeah, it's for, you know, I don't, it's weird now. I like wonder if the life that I just lived for like the last 20 years is even going to exist anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's, I feel absolutely lucky and super grateful that I got to, you know, essentially live on the road mostly for decades, averted real life for decades now. So I don't know, you know what I mean? Like with COVID and everything, I might be starting my janitorial career here real soon. So I don't know. I'm happy that I got to live and do it for as long as I did it. You know what I mean? And so yeah.
No, I absolutely feel that, and I'm even myself am wondering the same thing of what is it going to be like? What is there to go back to at this point? Yeah. You know, which is hard, you know, and I'm trying not to let the weight of that, you know, kind of get me, trying to think about the positive in situations because we definitely need it. So with all this COVID stuff that's going on, you've managed to obviously still maintain a pretty busy schedule with both bands.
Yeah, I mean, there were no shows and still are no shows essentially. But yeah, we just kind of like decided we'd get to work. So I've been this whole time just finishing up the SeepeopleS record I've been working on for about 3 years now. This was supposed to be the 20th. Well, it is the 20th anniversary of the band, but there was a tour planned and all sorts of stuff around that 20th anniversary. Obviously, no longer. So obviously, we just had more time and was already had these albums. The Worst record, actually been working on that one for a couple years now too. And then I think we might have played that Sparksy song on yeah, say hi to Sparksy.
Yep.
Come on.
Hey, what's up?
She's eating, and I haven't eaten. That's kind of fun.
Oh. I just ate, and good to see you, Sparksy. Thank you for saying hi. Eating anything good?
Tomato bruschetta on an English muffin.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have ramen in like 10 minutes, so it'll be a good contrast.
I just scarfed down a leftover pork chop from the grill yesterday, right before this. So
nice.
So that hit the spot. We gotta do what you do in the heat. Like it's pretty much like, can I cook for 5 minutes or less inside, or can I go outside and cook on the grill? It's the decision I ask myself every day.
Yeah, I do. I have a grill over there too. It's key, absolutely key.
It really is. It's especially in the summer, just to take the heat outside. And I know we live in Maine, but we have incredibly humid summers here, and people say that it's very hot here. It was well close to the 90s, and the humidity is just through the roof for anybody that actually cares about how hot it is and my sweaty, verklempt body.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, man, I'm half Thai, so like the Thai part of my genetics is totally all right with super hot and lots of humidity. Yeah, I actually prefer it to dry hot, honestly.
Really?
So we're all different,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thrive in the cold. Absolutely. The second that it drops below 60 degrees.
That's fucked up.
I love it. I love it.
Wrong, man.
For most of the winter, honestly, like I just need the heat on just for a little bit. I'd rather be cold because I could do something about it. I feel like the heat, you just can't escape it.
No, that's the best part. That's what you do. You can't escape it. Can't escape is its own verb.
That's
you just
what I'm
let
doing
go
right now.
Let the heat take over. Your body doesn't have to do all that work to heat you up.
That's what I see. I do peppers and like stuff like that. I love like heat from food, not from the air. But
think about all the people that go out and try to kill brain cells with drugs, and all they have to do is stay in the heat for a long time, and they'll get the same dumbing down effect. Will help them deal.
Lock your knees. Don't drink any water. Stare at the sun.
No, dumbing down is important. It's that way they're not, in perpetual anxiety and freaking out because their imagination is just dumbed down enough to not imagine it.
This is so much easier if we just don't ask questions and comply.
Well, the point is that when you think about people who had revolutions in extremely hot equatorial countries, you're already pretty tired from the sun. So if you're gonna get it up and actually make a revolution happen, then you really mean it, because you don't have time to waste anything really. So you really care. So at the very least, the heat will help dumb you down enough so that you'll only focus on the important stuff. You know what I mean? And not get all confused and inward. Everybody gets up here in Maine, you know what I mean? And then they doubt everything. And nothing is for certain. I can't. Whatever.
Man, I've had way too many of those conversations with some people at parties and shows over the years, and it's But speaking of heat, you guys check out this segue. It's impressive. You guys just released a new video just a few weeks ago, because we're talking in the future.
Yeah.
So tell us about the new video.
Okay, is this the Sea People's one?
Yes.
Which one was it? Okay, all right. I think there were 4 total. So the Sea People's just released 2, but we just released one that actually Sparksy made, and it was actually even an old song that came out on our first record in 2002. But seemingly relevant, unfortunately. So Sparksy did this great music video, lyric video that hopefully won't get banned by Facebook. Might get banned by Facebook.
It might, but it always has a place here.
Yeah, exactly. And or apparently TikTok. Apparently. Apparently, they like stuff on TikTok.
That's a whole other thing, and I've heard other guests like, oh, do you have a TikTok? Don't do a TikTok. They spy on you, and it's I don't even.
Oh, they're all
TikTok.
spying on you.
Oh yeah,
like that's over. We already lost that battle.
I'll drink to that.
Snowden lives in Russia.
I'll drink to that, buddy. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
So you guys have been staying busy, dropping a new video. Now you're a fairly eclectic band, and I think that's really one of the things that I love about you. You guys have kind of grown into like my new favorite Maine band, because you kind of like I didn't even know you guys existed before the show, and it just
you and everyone else.
Well, it caught me off guard, you know, I don't mean any disrespect with that, but it's like everything I hear, it continues to like, holy shit, this you don't fit into any general norms, and that's what I like about you. You take a risk with every song. You're kind of your influence and variety is kind of all over the place, and I love it because it's kind of like myself. I like kind of a little bit of everything. So what drove you to be so eclectic with just the style of the band and not lock into any one particular genre?
Yeah, I mean, so my musical upbringing was like, I honestly, I was like, I saw Jerry Garcia play a couple times. Hate to hint at my age here, but like, I was a big raver, so I went to a lot of electronic music events when I was very young, doing deplorable things that we shan't talk about in case my mother watches this.
Did you say deplorable or deplorable?
Yeah. You know what? Both. Do
you like that?
But
so I slowly pull my turntables in the shot here. There we go.
Yeah. When I was in my teens, I was like, I was trying to be a DJ and had turntables and everything, but I was also in rock bands. I like to do a lot of drugs, so I'd just go to all the parties. I don't know that Velvet Underground song, All Tomorrow's Parties. I took that literally. I tried to go to all of the parties, and I got to that point where I was kind of like, well, like certain scenes wouldn't hang out with each other, and I'd be like, no, you don't get it. Like, you guys like the same drugs. Like, you'll figure it out when you get there. Like, you should just go to this thing too. And there was always such a separation. And actually more so then for a while than there is even now. And so I just, when I started SeepeopleS, I just wanted to have a band that I could do everything that I did in. And I already did a lot of electronic music production. I've always done hip hop production. But I do acoustic solo gigs, and I do singer-songwriter stuff or whatever. So I just wanted to have a band that I could do like just everything essentially. And I could commit myself and I wouldn't worry about whether or not it fit. I never liked rules anyway, so pretty consistent pattern in my life. And so I just started out to have a band where I just promised myself I would never put rules on it, like musically, which I will tell you is the stupidest thing. If you're ever starting a band, don't do that. Especially if you want to make it famous or something like that. Definitely don't do it.
No, honestly,
don't get any big ideas.
what you've done over the years, it's phenomenal because it's not. And like every time I think that I honestly got my head around you just a little bit, I listen to another track and I'm like, all right, fuck, I gotta step back again. And I love that. I have not been that surprised by an artist in years. And that's
nice.
And that's what I like, the musicianship, the heart, the honesty behind it. It hits every single major note on it, and it's the embodiment of what we stand here at on the mixtape of just be willing to take a risk, go where the music takes you. It doesn't matter, the genre or the confines. It's just that universal language of just good fucking music. And it's
you're making way too much sense right now, dude. Calm down.
It's all the Benadryl.
Yeah, I have my Benadryl too right now. I really am, actually.
We're just finally vibrating at that same frequency, as some people would say.
Yeah, but I do actually think that unfortunately, like genres, whether they actually have rules or not, it doesn't matter. They kind of make psychological confines, and so essentially, you feel like you have to sort of paint within a certain structure, a certain palette, and you might be tempted to get out of that, but if you are so beholden to these rules, these unwritten rules, all of them, of course, you know what I mean? But then essentially it's counterintuitive to your art. It's essentially your art is going to suffer in you striving, getting away from whatever the hell you were really trying to say or whatever it is you're really trying to do. And your art's going to suffer. So that's kind of like, I guess that's the thing. You know what I mean? You're either an artist making art or you're kind of doing something else. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who fucking likes it.
You just go in with a blank canvas.
Probably
every
better
time.
more people hate it, really. And as far as Maine goes, I mean, Sea Peoples was based out of Asheville, North Carolina for 9 years. I'm not even really originally from Maine. I mean, most 99.9% of the listenership of my band is definitely not in Maine. And I love Maine, though. I do. I really think this is like this there's a great. Having been on tour for 20 years, I've seen all the scenes many, many, many times. I've seen them grow, and really have a good sample rate for different towns and the sort of infrastructure of how artists are connected to each other and stuff. And Portland really is an unbelievable talent base up here. I think everyone gets grumpy in the winters, so the getting along part maybe is the thing that the Mainers could get better at and sort of support each other, especially when you have so many amazing, talented bands here and artists and musicians. Like it's pretty amazing, concentration, I guess you could say. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on Maine.
No, and you're right, because for a while we're playing in like the metal and hardcore and like the punk scenes and also DJing. Like those are where your mindsets are, especially like where I'm getting shows and
that could have been the Benadryl, dude. And now that I think about it, that might have been the Benadryl talking.
Just kicked into ultra.
It just kicked in. I just tangented in hard.
No, but I dig it, and you're right. There is an unbelievable, amazing talent of so many different varieties of artists here on the show. Of every bit of culture, and it's amazing. And I get to speak with so many Mainers and then people from all over the world alike. And like I said all the time, it's humbling just to hear everybody's story and their journey. So one question that I kind of like to ask, especially a little bit more seasoned musicians that have been in it, especially someone like you for like 2 decades, over those years, I mean, everybody's got a show story, but what's like the ones that pop up in the back of your mind that you'll just like never forget, even if they're a little unsultry, but I'm sure there's some that resonate more than others.
There are many. Damn. All right, I'll tell you one right now. This is actually a pretty good one. All right. I remember the one I told you the other day. I have to figure out how to tell this story. Political correctness, I guess.
The names have been changed to protect.
No, the names are. It's all good. It's all good. So it was a gig. I don't remember what year. I think probably 2003 or 4, somewhere in there. And we played this outdoor thing. I believe behind the Replay Lounge. It was in Lawrence, Kansas. And they had this little music festival going on, and at the same time, they had a medieval fighting tournament with like pillow swords. You know what I mean? Like fake whatever.
Like LARPing.
So we're getting, we go and get ready for the gig and all that sort of stuff, and then we go walk around like the festival grounds because we want to like see what's going on and everything. So we go and we go watch these people battling it out. So they like did it by weight and division, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like divisions were done by weight, I guess, or size, essentially, something like that. Except the last division was essentially children. But then, what's the correct word? Little people? I don't even know. This is how ignorant I am. I don't know what to call little people.
I feel...
somebody said dwarves, but I thought that was a different thing. A dwarf. vertically challenged human being. So they essentially had combined these two, the children and these fully grown adults, albeit smaller, but still fully grown adults, who proceeded to beat the fucking crap out of these kids. I mean, it was not even, I almost felt like it was a comic relief kind of thing. And this was the beginning of this gig. So like this story is much longer. So this is already like, this is a weird gig, and you'll understand why I brought up the little people at the end of the story here. So anyway, this all happens. This is just a weird day. We go play the gig. The gig is fantastic, and we had a great night. And so, of course, we end up at this after party where many of the people at the fighting tournament were also at the after party, and they're still dressed in their medieval fighting attire. So everybody's dressed in knights, and like we're just the band, so we're like wearing the normal like band clothing. And so we go into this after party, and there were also some of the little people there. And I was very young. I maybe had never really hung out. I feel bad saying I guess I don't know many. I just don't have very many friends. So this was kind of a first experience for me to just sort of hang out with more than one at one time, I guess it would be. You know what I mean? There's probably like 3 or 4. Anyway, so I'm hanging out, and one of the guys like, "Can I play your guitar?" I was like, "Of course you can play my guitar." So I gave him the guitar to play. And so he starts playing it, and his brother, I guess it was his brother, starts chiding him. Basically, like he keeps fucking up, and he's like, "Dude, you can't even play the song." You know what I mean? He keeps trying to play the song. And this night was already pretty weird at this point. You know, I dare say probably well fueled by, you know, whatever we don't need to talk about. But like, you know, it was a late night.
It was a late night.
Everyone was partying
extremely
hard. Yes, exactly. So you understand the environment. And so he keeps trying to play the song, and his brother just keeps giving him shit. And so he looks at me after his brother says something. He's like, "Hey man, just hold the guitar for a second." So I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." I take my guitar back, and then he just runs across the room and starts beating the crap out of his fucking brother, which is both like shocking and also, let's be real, also a little kind of funny looking, right? A little bit, right? But it was more the fact that as they're trying to break up the fight, it's being broken up by like knights and like squires and like, you know, people in medieval dress. And I feel almost bad about telling you the last part of the story because it almost doesn't seem real, but you really can't make this up. But essentially, somebody went to get the dude's wife to come get him because he was drunk. He was like your, you know, kind of whatever, you know, your textbook drunk little person, right? Hate to say it, whatever, but that's what this person was. And so somebody went and got his wife, and his wife turned out to be a mail order bride that he had ordered. She'd been in the country for about 3 weeks.
Spicier.
And she comes and basically bitches him out, does end the fight, gets him to go away, and like as the whole, I think when she walked out the door, I hadn't absorbed it. I actually bit my fingernails off. Actually, that was the only thing I remember. Actually, it got so weird that at some point watching it, I was biting my fingernails, probably laughing at the other bandmates, being like, "What the fuck? This is crazy." And this is before, you know, here's the thing. It's like, this was 2003, 2004. So this is before you like pulled out phones to like film shit that you thought was hilarious. In fact, I can actually say that would probably have been the most unbelievably insensitive thing for me to do, to have just grabbed any recording device to get this fight going on, whatever. But yeah, so like, no, I didn't film it. You know what I mean? And I'm almost glad I didn't because I probably remember it better. It was probably worse than I remember, but it is a true story. That was one of the weirdest played. Lawrence, Kansas. Nuts. Anyway,
That definitely.
It's a good one, right? Yeah,
That definitely takes. That might take the crown for the weirdest show story that I've heard yet here on the show, but we can all get weird.
Gig.
We can get weirder.
I have a good perspective. I'll be honest. I've had a lot of weird gigs. You know what I mean? But that one still in my mind. It really was unbelievable.
It's one of those things in 30 years you're still going to remember that with absolute
clarity. I'll remember that forever. And we used to, even after tours, make the stupid joke, "We're not in Kansas." It really was like that. But you know what I'm saying though? Like that night, I do remember crossing the border the next day. I was on the way to Colorado, and I do remember saying that to the bandmates and all of us being like, "What the fuck Dude, like, what the fuck was that? Like, from the second we got on to Medieval Knights, the gig was great, actually, and it was Medieval Knights and squires dancing and whatever. Like, that was the gig. And then
That's
it was
phenomenal.
Great. I'd do it again.
Whew, that's unbelievable. Whew.
It is a little bit.
and that's the thing is, like, when you're out on the road, you can't plan for those things. It just kind of happens. It kind of takes you there. You're kind of almost just a passenger in some of the events. Sometimes you're like, all right, I'm just kind of going with this and seeing where it's happening. I find myself getting into a lot of situations that way. Like, let's just see where this road goes. Let's just see where this situation is going to take us. And worst case scenario, the keys are right here, and we could just bounce in any second. But I like taking risk. You know, that's
I'm trying to cut down in my older age these days. You know what I mean? Realize some of them might not have been as smart as you originally thought them to be.
Although my risk these days are, should I email this artist and see if they want an interview? All the worst they're going to say is no and tell me to go fuck myself. So
no, you always email the artist, and
exactly.
Everybody should want to interview. And absolutely, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Especially with what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like with the kind of thing you're doing, it like, we're having a good conversation right now. There's actual engagement. And most of, and even with newspaper writers that I've done interviews with that I actually know, it's just the medium and the format of it isn't conducive to actual engagement, which is, I actually think that, this is a good thing because of that. It's not, I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, most of the time when especially when an album comes out and you're doing generally more interviews, it's like scripted, like half of the answers that are just like the same thing that you said to every other dude that you spoke to them.
And that's not organic to me, and I'm very non-traditional. Like, we could absolutely do that. I went to film school. We could do a normal Q&A, but I honestly don't see the heart in that, because that's really what I want to get at is this, a heart-to-heart meeting new people all around the world, and this, connecting through the universal language that is music.
Didn't I see Mike Maurice on your show the other day with wasn't that on your show?
Not yet.
Playing keys? I thought he was on your show.
No, that's with Nate and DJ Matt Perry.
Oh, right.
But I can slice this out because we're not live. But I am interviewing him. Yeah.
Hold on. Then while you're slicing, hold on. Let me get another drink.
Yeah, get another drink. We can slice and dice all day. The power of editing. Whew, man.
Actually, I'm getting an alcoholic beverage. We'll take a good. You can edit this whole part, and then you'll remember that you can cut it in when the Guinness gets into the camera shot.
Whew. Whoa.
So you don't have AC either, huh?
I do my upstairs in my bedroom. That's more important to have it there.
We do not have it. Don't believe in it.
I've got it for when I sleep, but not downstairs. I'll rough it.
Yeah, well, you like the cold. Gross.
Yes. I like to freeze. Honestly, just like put me in a block of ice, and then you could defraw me in the morning, and I'm fine. Oh. All right. We'll get settled. Ask another question. Yeah. I might need to get an AC down here.
Yeah. Doing all right, actually.
All right. So staying busy, which is absolutely important. We you said you got a bunch, different videos coming with the different projects. With this amazing kind of remote world that we're in right now, if you were able to pull anybody in to do a collaboration with for any of the projects that you were working, all down the board, who would you want to work with? Anybody that's kind of in the game right now?
God, I really don't do that many collabs ever. Actually, I don't think I've actually done a single collab.
Really?
Now that I think about
So,
it. Well, that's not true because I produce other artists, so I'm always collaborating in that sense. But it's when I produce other artists, I try to take the writing part of me sort of out of the equation, like not necessarily arrangements, but like sort of being transparent. So essentially you're going for someone else's vision. So it's not really a true collab because you're not really, I mean, it is a collaboration because people are throwing in ideas and stuff, but generally the way I look at the producer role is probably old school a little bit. And even though I do a lot of hip hop beats and stuff like that too, even with that, when you're coming together, recording the song together, you're still trying to execute that artist's vision. I actually have a nice collab going on right now that with a person who's collaborated with some people since the very beginning. He's on almost every record, but his name's Dana Colley. He plays saxophone. He played saxophone in this band called Morphe, which is a big band and a big band everywhere in the world, really. But highly influential band in Boston in the '90s. Lead singer died in '99. Dana is. I'm so lucky that I've had him since I was like 21, I think, was when I first started collaborating with him. He's such a, everything that he puts on a track is so unique. But yeah, I mean, as far as like collaborating though, I don't know, it's a good question. I really don't think like that, so I never really think about that stuff. And even the collaborations that I do, I don't know, they feel like they kind of land on, I don't know, might have to come back to that, dude.
all right, we'd have to come back to it. I mean, there's
there's
really,
musicians that I would die to play with, I mean,
yeah, so maybe some more musicians that you would die to play with.
Oh, everyone.
Everyone, just throw them at me.
Sly and Robbie for the day, probably, rhythm section for a day. There's like endless collaborations of people, but I'll think about who I would actually, because I would. I'm sure there's some people out there that I would. You know who I would? I can't answer that question. I can't. One of my favorite artists is this guy, Roots Manuva. You know who that is at all?
I don't.
So he's a UK hip hop artist. He's really Jamaican. He's via UK. But some people would know him. He did 2 tracks with Gorillaz. Gorillaz, like that, which obviously those were huge songs. But if there's one artist that, like, right now, especially in the last 7 or 8 years, everything that he's put out is like a master class in production. So if anybody's never listened to his stuff, and I know some of my hip hop friends can't get over his accent, which, whatever. But the writing and the production on his stuff is absolutely insane. So every time he releases a new record, I learn a lot. So I love it because I just soak it in, and he's so weird you couldn't even really rip him off if you tried, really, not really like that, but so he would be an artist that if I really could find a way to get to make a track with somebody who I probably would need a lot of help to make that happen, he'd probably be my first choice. Check him out.
Well, that's a really interesting way to describe an album that I just learned so much to listening to. I really like that, because there's a handful of artists that I'll sit there that are really influential to me and they drop something new, and that's exactly kind of the way that I take it in. It's like, all right, holy shit, there's a lot to take in. There's so much that I can take in from a production value as an engineer, as a guitarist, as a piano player, as all the little, assets that I do. And I like that for music to be also in a sense educational. You get a little bit more, and when you resonate with an artist like that, for me, I feel that way with Tom York. Every time there's a new Radiohead album, I just have to strip it down, and I have to listen to it in my car. I have to listen to it on speakers. I have to listen to it on my 5.1 in my living room and with headphones. I want to hear it in all these different mediums, so I can just take in all the little nuances in it.
When, because I was young enough, I had my own apartment, actually, I guess, so I definitely was young enough. And I just moved to Boston when I guess I was 18 years old when OK Computer came out. And I was so excited, you know, because I love the Bends. And I went to Tower Records, which doesn't exist anymore, but in Boston it used to be this 2-3 level, you know, it's where you went because you bought music. And it was, you know, the whole experience going to Tower Records. They used to have these listening stations. So I ate a bunch of mushrooms. And I immediately bought, you know, OK Computer, but I couldn't wait because like I walked there. So it was like a good 25 blocks plus at that point. I think it was tripping pretty hard. So I was like, I probably shouldn't leave the building maybe. I don't know. So I did. I just like pulled up, and there was definitely an etiquette to like when you took over a listening station, like, yeah, you're really not supposed to listen to a whole album, let alone like the album 5 times or 6 times. And I absolutely did. I was like, no. Like I started it, and anyone even looked. And, like I just gave him the worst look, and I did. I definitely listened to the whole record, maybe twice actually, in that Tower Records, because I just couldn't wait. You know what I mean? Like it was so important for me to like, you know, when if you think about it, it is like an engagement thing. And so if you're an artist and you make art that resonates with anyone, and keep making art, and you'll find that your true fans, I guess, you'll find that it starts resonating again and again with some person. And they're like, oh shit, I like this. And there's a level of trust that gets built. And when you totally love and trust that artist because they've just delivered again and again on sort of their promises, I guess, you build this trust. So at that point, once the artist kind of knows that they have that trust, and anybody who's been in a band long enough, they know they have their fans, you know what I mean? Like they got their, like, you know, crazy ones that hit them up all the time and help them out when COVID happens and send money to them and like super take care and all that stuff. But you know your audience when it comes to like the people that you've seen at your shows so many times. I mean, there's people who have been to, like 70 to 100 SeepeopleS shows. I recognize them. I know who they are. They're my friends. I don't even consider them like fans, like just, you know, they're there all the time. There's a level of trust. So like it's great because with like, especially with SeepeopleS, like I purposely will go make something that I kind of know like some people aren't gonna like, you know what I mean? Like I always like it, that's why I made it, but like I do know that at least that there's that built up a trust with some of my audience that they're going to take the plunge. They might not even like it at first, but they'll take the time to kind of be like, why? Like, what the hell would he make something this terrible for? Whatever it is. But like, they'll at least go through and which means as an artist, if you can get to that point where you essentially have the ability to make your art, right? Like you just, whatever it is, however you got there, you know, what doesn't really matter, but if you get to the point where you're able to make art consistently and get better at your craft, I guess, consistently do art and keep sending stuff out there, and you have this huge trust built up that you've built up over time and over, you know, all this stuff, then yeah, you can push the envelope, and you'll know that some people are going to take the ride with you. Like they might not like it at first, but you built up enough trust with them that they're gonna go down the rabbit hole with you. You know what I mean? Like, and they're gonna like try to figure out what it is, or, you know, even try to like it sometimes. You know what I mean? So as an artist, it's there's something that to be said with, if you get the chance, and it's really it's all like hard work is involved, but it's super just blessing. You know what I mean? Like if you are blessed to get to do it for any window of time, let alone I've been super lucky that I get to do this for as long as I've done it. And you build up that trust, and yeah, you almost owe it to that audience to take chances. Do you know what I mean? Like you're doing both disservice to the audience and your audience, you know what I mean? And yourself as an artist. You don't bust out, you know what I mean? Like none of the great artists exist within that one genre of whatever great band or great thing. They came and took over the genre, and immediately we're like, we're going over here and you're coming. You know what I mean? And that, you know, so I don't know, like that's maybe it's the Benadryl talking now.
No,
Benadryl plus Guinness.
I followed all along, and you're absolutely right. There is a trust, because with the right bands, especially ones that are actually emoting, putting themselves into the track, it really becomes a little bit more than just listening. It actually becomes a relationship over.
Yeah,
over time.
absolutely. And you know it too. Like I even know like when I'm making a song, like I can even certain person will pop in my head like, yeah, they're gonna love this one, or like my friend is gonna hate this fucking song. You know what I mean? Like his wife is gonna love it, and it's gonna piss him off so much that his wife loves this song and he's gonna hate it. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, you can get, and it is. It's like. It is the engagement that if you're going to go out there and like, any real artist will do the art no matter what. Van Gogh never sold a painting when he was alive. You know what I mean? If you're an artist, you should be completely happy with just going and doing your art in the middle of the desert and never showing it to anybody because, but no artist is actually like that.
It's true.
Through throwing stuff out there and what they get in return, that's kind of how they figure out who the fuck they are, basically. So, yeah, essentially, like, if you go down that path, go down the rabbit hole, like, take the fucking chances, you know what I mean? Especially if you really believe in your art and you're gonna fight for it, then yeah, absolutely, like, figure out the parameters of everything that you can pull off. Like, you know what I mean? Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. It's the best. You always figure more out from yourself. You know what I mean? Try to go where you almost know that it might not get liked immediately or ever.
But you know that at least you have that satisfaction of knowing that you did it, you tried it, and at the end of the day, you're not going to question whether or not, if you should have gone down that road. You took the risk, and at least you tried,
Yeah, and if you keep doing it, honestly, you'll just not give a fuck anymore. I mean, yeah. really, like, at a certain point, I don't even know when that happened for me, but like at a certain point, you really are just making music for yourself. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Or making art for yourself. Like, you might try to make money off it, and that's mixing art and commerce is always just horrible.
It's hard.
It's essentially a terrible compromise. So it's like the next election. You know what I mean? It's like, which do you choose, Joe Biden or Joe Biden? And but you know what I mean? And like the thing is, you look at it, you're like, well, neither one is winning. Neither one is going to give me a win. Joe Biden or Joe Biden. Neither one is going to give me the winning feeling that I like when I get into politics.
You're absolutely right.
Social gambling, right? But it will also not feel like losing. And like, I know for a lot of people, like losing is a feeling that has been pretty shared lately, unfortunately. Feeling like losing some battles that we fought and can't even believe that we have to fight them again, essentially. So I don't think, at least, it's like that. It's like basically it's a not win, not lose situation.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard choice. I mean, not that the choice is hard between the two. It's just, it's not a satisfactory choice to have in the first place. I'm kind of waiting for some magical candidate just to drop in and be like, boom, motherfucker, I'm the right choice all along. Like, if Jon Stewart just fucking came out of nowhere and announced that he was running. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Jon Stewart for fucking president. Let's do this, Jon Stewart. Tell me Colbert's your VP. Tell me Colbert's your VP, please. I'd vote for that all day. Oh my God, I miss Jon Stewart.
Yeah. I think at this time we just vote for not losing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, I vote for planet Earth. That's what I vote for. That's,
How casual is this show again?
Oh, we're super cash.
Great. I'm gonna have a cigarette because, as you can see, I have allergies and it's like 400 degrees in this apartment.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we can do that.
I can sit here and give you a lecture on smoking. That wouldn't be me, because I don't give a shit if you smoke cigarettes.
No, I do. I don't like it. It's the worst thing ever, and I don't condone it. And I definitely, that's right. I don't have any more. All right, cut. Hold on.
Well, I really appreciate definitely hanging out tonight. As as always, I never know where this journey is going to take me when I engage with any artist, and it's been phenomenal, honestly. I really look forward to what's coming next, and I got to ask the kind of generic question of what can we expect from Sea Peoples and the worst coming up here.
So yeah, and Sparksy's got a new video.
And Sparksy.
So yeah, no, it's so the worst. Originally, both of the worst and the Sea People's record were going to come out this year. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but definitely dropping a new worst single pretty soon. Actually dropping another thing for the worst as well, which I can't actually. But and then Sea People's has actually one of the coolest things that we do have going on right now is so the guy who made, I don't know if you watched the New American Dream video that got banned by Facebook. So the guy who animated that video, his name's Pete List. He's like he actually might be the coolest guy in the planet actually. So Pete is he used to do that show Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV. That was kind of where he got his things, and he's animated like countless things since then. But Pete is luckily, I'm lucky to have Pete on my side again. And Pete has actually been working on another Sea People's video, and I will tell you, it is unreal. It's we're kind of we're gonna make it so it can't get banned essentially, but it's definitely gonna. It will, yeah. I mean, it's. I wouldn't say provocative, but it might induce thinking, which we all know is terrible, especially on
absolutely.
Facebook and Insta scam.
I like all my decisions made for me.
Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, he sent me a few of the clips already, and it's like, I mean, it really is. It's so, yeah, in a weird way, like you go back to that collaboration question, but like, yeah, I mean, like I feel super lucky that I've got to collaborate with people, and it really has. With Pete, he is a collaborative person, so which means like get on WhatsApp and talk to him because he's fled the country, so he's in Italy now. Pete, if you watch this, coming soon. Leave that couch open.
Soon as there's room.
Yeah, but early morning meetings because they're not that bad, but he's a little bit ahead of us, you know.
What is he? 7 hours?
Yeah, I think it's 7.
7.
But
yeah. I think they're like the same as it's like Bulgaria and a couple other artists.
Yeah, and so it's like been the most amazing collaboration when you have this amazing artist and then you talk about something, and then you watch it come to life, and it's just amazing. I mean, it really is. It's like, oh my God, I'm like a little kid at the candy store. Oh, you can do that with cartoons. Holy shit. but yeah, so I'm like that's going to be a really big. That's going to be a big one. So I'm really excited. Yeah, the worst record. Brooke has written like maybe the most epic rock album. I'm blown away, and I'm really excited for that. We've been working really hard on that record. We had our drummer left the band during the COVID, and so we were really lucky that we had a guy named Craig Sala, who's Paranoid Social Club's drummer, and they haven't been that busy lately. So Craig's been round trip for 10 hours round trip. I think he lives in Purchase, New York, so he's been traveling, doing a 10-hour round trip drive for rehearsal.
Wow.
Rehearsals, which is like, that's awesome. Yeah, the next worst record. In the interim we had some friends that jumped on to help us finish. Dana's playing on both the worst and the Sea People's record, probably on the Sparksy one as well. Good friend of mine named Nikki Gillespie, who's Nikki plays in the Nth Power, but she used to be Beyonce's drummer for 7 years. Yeah, she's badass. Maybe the best drummer in the world, quite frankly. And I just produced their album that hopefully will come out one of these years. But so she's signed out. She's actually doing worst. Doing a bunch of the tracks, and then Craig from Paranoid and Plainside is finishing the rest, and then Craig joined the band. So it's been like the craziest thing with the worst, but yeah, it's it's going to be I'm really excited for people to hear that record because
we're definitely excited to hear it too, and trust us, we're gonna give it a solid spin here on the tape. We love it.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that. That Sparksy record coming out too is really gonna fire, man. It's so we've been working on that record a bunch. She has a new video dropping. So
I'm just blown away by the collective of artists between all three, from Sparksy to Worst and SeepeopleS. Honestly, like it hits all the right notes for me from the different varieties in music and vocalist and the artist involved. I mean, that video with traveling, the sailing across the world.
Yeah. So look. So that video was with Holly Martin, who is a serious badass, who just actually crossed the Pacific, which in a 27-foot sailboat, which by herself. Insanity. Yeah, and actually Daryl Foster from Five of the Eyes. I don't know if you know that band, the little great band in Portland called Five of the Eyes. Daryl Foster is the lead singer of that band. He's actually the one that edited that video. All the footage obviously was from Here's My Dog Now. See,
yo, what's up?
Yeah, okay, she's not. She just wants to play. Yeah, all right. Daryl's the one that made that video. We actually just filmed Sparksy's next video. I got like 17,000 bug bites from the filming session, but yeah, she's got another single coming out as well. So like essentially, we're gonna be dropping music in every direction for a little bit, and then figuring out when. I don't know. It's hard to
do next.
Well, like if it's hard to think about the fact that like the way you really sell albums is by being on the road. I mean, that's really, your biggest chance to actually move some records is by going and selling it in person, essentially. So without that, I don't know. It kind of changed the game a lot. Actually, it was a lot. It's changed the game a lot. So I think everybody is figuring out what to do. I don't think anybody knows. I'm actually pretty sure that nobody knows what they're right.
No, so. I don't think any of us really know what we're going to do. And we're honestly just kind of taking it day by day. And like you said, you're just staying active, trying to, stay connected with the music, stay connected with your friends, your following, your family, whatever you can do just to keep, yourself from thinking about the scope of it. I mean, there's so many things happening, but I think it's important that we all try to, create and find an outlet, any sort of sense of normalcy and any semblance of peace of mind for yourself. Even if you're not showing the world, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I think it's really important just for your own mental health, just to try to find some escape from this, even if it's for 10 minutes a day, Because otherwise, when you really think about the scope of everything right now, it's a little soul crushing. So we gotta compartmentalize one battle at a time.
It'll be all right.
It will.
They've all collapsed in the past. Humanity has somehow found a way to go on.
The night is always darkest just before the dawn breaks.
Exactly.
So we're gonna make it through it together. As we get I get full of quotes here. But Will, before we part ways, any final thoughts, any words of wisdom, anything you want to say?
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Keep doing it too. Like that, like you guys. I've been watching the show, so keep doing it. It is definitely the best way to like make it happen as far as like getting the word out on art for sure. Actually get a good hang in.
Well,
you can't really do that in person so much.
No, and we can't, and I used to sit and do this, on the bumpers of trailers and cars and parking lots of shows and, and go and make, that way and make the connections like that. And I miss it more than anything. And I thought that honestly, but I'm not the only one that misses those types of connections. So thus, just a little bit more of an honest look, a connection of hearts between artists here.
Yeah.
The Benadryl getting to both of us. We're getting mushy here.
Benadryl is everything.
I'm just gonna fucking love all this so much. But I kid. Where can we find your music online to check out?
Oh yeah, well definitely go to SeepeopleS.com and all the socials /SeePeopleS. The worst is a little harder because it's the worst band name ever in the history of band names for sure, especially when it comes to Google searching. But Instagram, because the worst band, the worst 207 for all the other socials, the worst one word. Obviously Sparksea, SPARXSEA. Definitely check that out too for sure. You should actually check out Chill House Studios because that's where we make all three of these albums. Are even though we've been recording here, I'll actually show you before you go. Check out the vocal booth. I did not make that. The creator of said vocal booth. That's the outside. That's the guitars. She put guitar hangers on the vocal booth. But so yeah. Yeah,
that's awesome. No, I'm sitting in my home little studio myself, and I just got my new PC built.
I meant to say Chill House. I was trying to do a shout out. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I didn't mean to interrupt. But so other than this vocal booth and other than the remote recording that we've been forced to do, all three of these records are being done via Chill House Records. It's where they're all getting mixed. It's where we did most of the tracking before COVID happened. And it's where SeepeopleS and the Worst, we do all records there. It's called Chill House Studios, and it's whatever.com. But for any of the bands out there.
Is that in Portland?
No, it's in Boston.
Oh, in Boston.
Yeah.
Where about in Boston?
It's actually in Charlestown, so you don't need to cross the bridge. You can actually just park. Something you can't do in Boston.
No.
So it's, yeah,
see, I'm an Austin Brighton boy, so I totally understand.
Well, that's where SeepeopleS started.
In Austin Brighton.
It did. Actually, me and my friends were the ones that came up. I don't know if you remember you might still see a couple of the stickers, but we came up with the Defend Alston sticker that had the machine gun on it.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
And so that sticker was created in about 1990.
Oh my God, you're gonna
7 maybe. You do not have one of those.
Oh, let me grab my old iMac. Here you
go.
go.
Oh my God. You
mean that one right here?
Wow.
You mean that Defend Alston sticker? Yeah, man.
That is amazing. That's.
You probably weren't expecting to see that tonight, were you?
I was not. You need to take a picture of that, and I need to send it to a bunch of my friends.
Dude, honestly, I loved that. I always have. I loved our little town and our fight against suburban sprawl there. Oh man, so
yeah.
we
didn't win that battle. Let's be real. Alston did not get.
No, they got gentrified hard. Oh yeah, nobody I know lives there anymore. Everybody's gone.
That's
you can't even afford water.
You have that sticker. I can't even believe you have that sticker, man. That's such a fucking trip.
I'm so glad it was still on my laptop, like that, or my iMac there. Oh,
yeah, our rehearsal space was actually in Brighton. It was actually, I think it was how I got good at playing with my pedal board by not looking at my pedal board. I was in the old band complex in Brighton, Massachusetts, and I got good at not looking at my pedal board because if you look down, you were gonna see a mouse or a rodent, and you just didn't want to know what was happening down there. So you just learned how to change your pedals without having to look down and see the
classic
rat eating your Dominoes that you ordered 3 days ago or whatever. But yeah, so that whole neighborhood, Brighton, Alston.
I used to live across
where SeepeopleS started.
And you know what? Half Pipe Dave, Skater Dave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I lived right across the street from the Half Pipe House, right on Highgate Street in Hellgate.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you know what an apartment goes in that neighborhood now? It's absolutely insane.
Like $6,000 for a studio.
Yeah.
Small world, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I still can't believe. Will you please send me a picture of that sticker? That sticker. I need to cut after this because he doesn't want his name on anything. But
no, I'm glad I could brighten your day a little bit with a little bit of history.
It really was. I actually remember the printing of those stickers, and then the first wave, because we did, of course, we fucking did a first wave, and we plastered this
went out. I think the first place
we were like in Cambridge sticking up Defend Alston stickers on it.
That was right in the
neighborhood already lost.
I was like in the Moonanite bombing days. I survived the Moonanite bombings.
Yeah, I actually, if I remember correctly, that was like that had to be 97 or 98. remember correctly. It was definitely the 90s. That sticker originated pre-2000. It's like, it's definitely, unfortunately.
Definitely a blast from the past there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cut that, though, because I'm 26 years old, so edit that whole fucking
Yo, I
shit.
just had my 16. So,
Yeah, cool.
my guest tonight has been Will with SeepeopleS and the worst. Will, I thank you so much. We're going to end on a high, Seinfeld style.
Man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll talk soon.
Cool, man.
Bye.